I'm gonna figure out how to smash a blueberry into something and make it powered by blueberries.
That'd be awesome.
It's organically grown. You can grow them in the ground, and then you take your blueberry, you smash it into your phone, and your phone's got 100% battery.
Done.
Come on.
I kind of want to bring back a topic we sort of touched on. I think it was in the movie episode, where we talked a little bit about like the future. So I think there's like some interesting topics that'd be cool to get your guys' opinion on. So the first one I thought would be interesting is, what do you think, like in our lifetime, is the farthest like technology that we'll see? Like
the alien race.
Well, it's not like a technology. We don't invent an alien race. Hey, maybe we do. But like with all the different movies and stuff out there, like we were talking about, like I forget which even movie we were talking about, but like how far?
Back to the Future?
Not Back to the Future.
Like 1.21 gigawatts.
Christian.
We never talked about that.
That would be like time travel, but all right. Back to the original question. In our lifetimes, like towards the end of your life, how far do you think technology will have come? And do you think we're going to be at like interplanetary like living and travel? Do you think we're going to be at like the same where we are, but maybe we have like better internet and better phones? Like, do you think it's like it's growing at a rate that's going to be somewhat close to some of these movies, or is this going to be like what we have now, just a little bit faster, a little bit more integrated?
Did you say at the end of our lifetimes?
Yeah, I figured like at the end of your lifetime, that's
whenever I die, like 80.
Yeah,
when our kids become
whatever it is. Like, where do you think we would be by then? Because that would give it the biggest gap from now until then.
In my personal opinion, I don't think we're going to be much better. And I don't mean better off, but like much more than this. We'll probably have the iPhone 64 and I don't know, just better graphics and video games, and
our future kids would be like playing VR, and we're trying to be like, oh, I remember back in our day we were playing Pong. Like, Dad, why you embarrass me in front of your friends?
We were playing what?
Really specific. Well, I guess Christian's gonna have kids. He's planning on that.
Pong.
These are Pogs. I'm like, oh, that's not a video game, but I remember playing that.
Like, we're playing virtual skee ball.
I kind of agree with Brian though. Like, I feel like it's not gonna be like ridiculous. I feel like it's just gonna be kind of like what you said. It's gonna be like the optimized what we have. It's gonna be better than what we have, but like the same version, just to like the top version of that.
Just like whatever that day brings for technology,
Yeah. It's just gonna be like better computers, better systems, better technology, but it's not gonna be like completely new futuristic stuff. It'll just be like the most optimal version of what we have today.
Yeah, but what if it's like post-apocalyptic?
That's all. That was another thought I had, because
that could
Brian
change
at
things.
first,
That could
Brian
change
said
things.
at first, he's like, I don't know if it would be better off, but then he said, well, not better off, but that's what he started his comment at. But that's what I was thinking. Like,
yeah,
when I don't know if the technology is good. Like, that's kind of a different argument, I guess, if it's good or bad or discussion. But I feel like if it gets too advanced, the human race will just be kind of useless as humans and like just super reliant on technology. Like, we're already going in that direction.
So where do you see the line? Do you see it like more heading towards like the WALL-E scenario where like fat people in chairs we don't do anything, or do you see it more like iRobot where it's still human, like it's human interaction, but like there's a robot in your house that like cooks for you, cleans for you? Like, those are kind of like two different scenarios where it's like
I Am Legend.
What?
Well, no, that's
not.
I Am Legend is like, we created a cure for something and it created like zombies. I mean, like iRobot.
It could happen.
So speaking like technology specifically, do we see it more like we get lazy, like in the fact that we do less and we start moving, or do we see it like that iRobot scenario where it's like you have some sort of helper integrated into your house? Maybe it's not like a robot. Maybe you have like, like an oven that can kind of like cook up a meal for you type of thing. Like, which direction do you see it?
I think it's going to go more towards the iRobot way, where you have things that do shit for you. You just be like, hey, I want a steak, and the oven just
makes a steak.
You know, fucking makes a
Yeah.
steak.
I agree.
feel like more is like Blade Runner.
Well, that wasn't an option, Christian.
Well, so okay,
You
so
can't just throw it up right in movies.
expand on that. What about Blade Runner do you see that makes sense in that sense?
Like all the stuff that we have now, right? It's gonna like decease, and new things are gonna evolve over it. Like we're not
humans
gonna
or,
have
or technology?
say like cars, they're on the ground. We're gonna have cars eventually not even on ground. It's gonna be like going gravity. Like they're gonna work with gravity or
You mean
something. Where
flying.
you can go flying, driving on walls, something crazy.
So that, I mean, that's an interesting too when you talk about like vehicles. So like we're already at a point where we have like drivable, not drivable, but like cars on the road that are driving themselves. So like going back to
Yeah.
the iRobot example, like they had cars, but they were just so efficient, and they had like those round wheels that like
Mhm.
they didn't need drivers because a human wasn't capable of handling the speed and accuracy of the computer. So since we already have that motion now, do you see it getting to the point where it's just fully driverless, or do you see it kind of taking the jump
Yeah.
away from driverless and going like sky? You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's no reason to go skyward if we can keep it on the ground and just make it so efficient that we're not driving everything so fast. There's no accidents because there's no like asshole drivers, that kind of thing. Like I feel like there's two different scenarios. Like we're not going to go
Yeah.
off to driverless if we're going to all of a sudden develop flying cars, because that's not the same thing. You know what I mean?
Or we're getting close enough to it when you see all the cars on the streets that have their wheels tilted like this, so they're
Oh, that's
kind of getting to the
different.
motion of like Back to the Future.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe all that negative camber is just like people trying to work on flying cars.
Well, they do have wheels that actually turn certain angles now, certain cars.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
they
you
have-
turn your wheel, they turn.
No. They
yeah,
have, like,
it's 4-wheel steering. It's the back wheels
Oh,
turn
yeah.
the
Yeah,
opposite
they have-
way. So you go like that. Yeah.
yeah, you're going like this, like a weird like northeast direction, like going that way
What?
with the wheels. So your car's pointing this way.
Oh
And
yeah. I know what you're talking. Yeah, he's talking like your car pulls
Oh.
up to like a spot to park, and it just goes like sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not as. But I guess that's part of the question. Is like
No.
again. So back to the question, like, where do
Yeah,
you think it's
well-
going more?
So I'll go back to like the first kind of part of that where you said if it's like iRobot or Wall-E. At first, before I thought it was gonna be like Wall-E, but I definitely think it's gonna be like iRobot now. Just because like I feel like at least in the United States, we've always been like a
Lazy.
fat, lazy kind of thing compared to other countries.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I feel like at this like moment in time too, like health and fitness are also
It's
like
very big.
massive. They're huge. So it's like kind of weird because at the same time there's like we're like the most unhealthy. We're also like extremely like healthy. Like it's like a weird divide.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's gonna because it's already going in that iRobot with like Alexa, Google, and like the self-driving vehicles. Like we're already going in that direction. So it's
Yeah.
gonna continue in that direction. And like you said too, like why I don't think there's really any focus right now into trying to make flying cars. Like it just seems like you said, there's no reason to necessarily. It probably would just have more issues than like normal cars. So I think it'll be like completely driverless. Like they'll just be like driverless taxis and stuff like Ubers. You'll just like click it and the car will just like GPS locate to where you are and you'll just get in it and then there'll be nobody driving it. And then
I
take
definitely
you
wouldn't
around.
be in that first wave of like flying cars. I definitely wouldn't want to be a person to test it out.
Yeah, see flying is weird because I think the ultimate problem that people try to solve is like time efficiency. So like you think of like traffic is like, how do we solve traffic? Like there's always traffic. So if they can solve it in like on ground by just making, like I said, eliminating accidents, because most of the time traffic is like, some asshole cuts over or doing this. If they can make it so that it's so streamlined and like the computer's just like weaving in and it's like everyone's doing what they need to do, like you kind of eliminate traffic. And then flying cars is like a whole new world. Like we already figured out like exits and on ramps, off ramps, and stop signs. Like that's already there. Like the sky is like a whole new thing. I mean, unless you're going to be like 10,000 feet on a plane or something. So I feel like, yeah, like you said, I don't really think there's like a reason to go flying plane, even though not flying plane, flying car. Just because like you see like in the future movies, everything's flying, but it's like until you're traveling to like another planet, like you don't really need to do that if you can. I mean, I don't know. I guess there's other uses of that too. If you want to like travel across the country,
Well,
it's more efficient to
Well,
do it over
I
the
was-
sky. But
it could be faster. Like if everything's automated, like you could be like going at like 200 miles per hour
Yeah.
rather than, you know what I mean? So it could be a lot faster. So you wouldn't really
True.
like flying, but also just like even like public transportation here though, like what is it? Japan or something, or who is it? Like bullet train thing?
Japan,
Yeah, like we don't even have that, and like that's like super like technology, like
Yeah.
just super technology, like technologically advanced, and like
Yeah.
as public transportation goes, like that is like wicked good. I think it's like super fast, and we don't have that yet. Like we got some work to do there,
Yeah,
You
it
know,
goes
I
like
don't think we'll ever have that.
which is like
on-
ridiculous.
To touch on the traffic part, like I actually saw a photo of a 50-lane highway in China
What?
that
Oh, yeah,
like
that goes to
goes
4.
into like 4. That
Yeah.
doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, that's crazy. What's the thing? Like, I remember reading a thing. It was like a big engineer article a while ago about like traffic, and they're saying like how to solve it. They're saying like the only way, like as it stands today, to solve traffic is to either like take the driver out of the equation or
Yeah.
to expand like vertically or below.
Mhm.
So you either
Mhm.
go like routes above or you go tunnels, because the same thing with like parking. It's like, how do you solve parking? You take a spot that has 10 spots and you build a garage, and now you have like 100 spots. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't solve traffic by making it wider or doing anything. You have to like think vertically. So he said like this whole group of engineers said that was like the only way we solve these big city traffic is like you take the driver out, which is everything's driverless and there's no like
Yep.
human interaction, or you expand and you have like roads above or like flying cars. So that would be like one of the solves. So I think the future is heading in one of those directions. It's just I feel like the driverless thing is like already being worked on. So
I
that
don't
seems
think we'll ever
closer.
see it.
Or suction
Yeah.
tubes.
Well, he
I-
said take the driver out of the equation.
Yeah.
Did he mean make it driverless, or like a good old Thanos snap just to eliminate half the world population? Because that's probably pretty good too.
That could
I would go
happen,
with
I
that.
guess. That goes
Tim's
back-
over here trying to kill everybody in the world.
Well, that
Well-
goes back to Christian's point, where if we create an alien race that does that, I mean, there you go.
I'm fine with that. We're super overpopulated.
It's just 50% gone.
But what if you couldn't control who disappeared?
Like,
You
this is
don't.
great, and then you disappear.
Well, it's better for the
It
people
was
that are there, I guess.
your idea. Like, yeah.
Oh well. No more traffic though.
Tim over here.
Hey, you had a point. All right.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, he not to stray off topic, but I mean, he really wasn't like doing the wrong
We're,
thing.
we're killing the planet here.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think like structural things like homes and stuff will be like in the near time future like that?
Yeah, that was my next point, because I mean we have a lot of things that are like very old that are still around. Like the number one thing that I see all the time that reminds me of that is like telephone poles. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
like when you think of like a new community, like yeah, they bury the lines in the street and stuff like that, but just like that whole concept of like your house only operates by physical wood and lines being connected to the house. It just seems like you have a phone that can like literally do anything a giant computer can do from like the past 20 years,
Well,
and you
I
still
mean-
have like a telephone pole like bringing power to your house. It just like stuff like that. I feel like needs. I mean, maybe it won't be, but I feel like that's where like the efficiency needs to happen.
so, I mean, they have solar panels, but like not everybody has a solar panel on the top of their house, you know?
Yeah, and even that, I mean, there's arguments of like the company not even letting you use all the solar you generate, but it is true like the current solar panels can't generate like enough for a full house to use for like a month or whatever, unless you're like in an environment that literally is like 100% sun or something. So yeah, I mean, getting a better version of a solar panel to like allow for a house to be self-sustaining would be awesome, but I feel like, I mean, in the U.S. and probably most places, like the government
Would never
won't really
allow
let
Yeah.
self-sustaining houses be a thing. Like if you have like your own water like recycling thing with rain or whatever, it's like they're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna tax you on that. Or you have solar panels, like, well, you're still gonna need to be connected to the grid and blah blah blah, so we can keep track of it. So I feel like politics is gonna hurt so
Mhm.
much of the technological growth.
Yeah. I could
Yep.
go forever on that, and I could rant about that forever.
Yeah.
So I'm
No,
not
I mean,
gonna get
it's
too much into that.
It's like impossible to argue against it because I mean,
No,
taxes,
no, I'm just
taxes
saying
in
I won't
general.
I just hate that. Like, I'll just go on a whole rant of how much I, hate the government. So I won't start that. How
It's true,
stupid they
it's
are,
true, though.
and they pretty much are just ruining everything.
but to the topic of like for Christian's point,
You
like
and your
for houses. So like my
Oh,
thought is like, you know, self-sustaining, like a house that does more for you. Like, do houses look the same? Probably. Do they become more solar and that stuff? Probably. But like, you know, do you see like not like Alexa or Google, but like the technology of that just being integrated like into your entire house? Like your house just becomes
Yeah.
like an open concept system where you're like, you know, you stand up from the toilet and it's like the sink goes on, and you know what I mean? Like everything is just kind of like built around you. You know what I mean? Like that's just a weird example, but like, do you see it?
He's got
Yeah. Iron Man's a good example.
Just
I forget
at this point,
Jarvis
just,
Yeah,
He's
Jarvis.
got-
But it's like his whole house is like kind of like integrated into like making his life easier. Like, do you see that being real, or is that just like kind of ridiculous?
I
No,
can see it, but not at the end of my lifetime.
But,
I don't
but
know.
to what degree? So I mean, that goes back to the
You already
original
have-
question: is by the end of your lifetime, what do you think is it really just like better phones or better computers? Like we've definitely made some leaps, but we're getting to the point where we're like kind of like flattening that like technological curve where there's no more like color TV or like blah blah blah. Like we've already made like the crazy discoveries. Like yeah, it's hard to see like if it's just going to be better and smoother and faster. But where does that get us? Like right now, like things are pretty fast. So it's like after like
And it's
5G.
crazy genius guy just to figure something else out. You know, like Edison and the light bulb, or you know what I mean, electricity.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna take some crazy genius person to just figure something out.
Well, it's hard because, like we talk about all the time, like you can't think of something
You don't know.
that you don't know or like doesn't exist yet. Like every thought is just combinations of other thoughts to make something new, but they're not like new like altogether. Like it's kind of weird. You have to like figure out new things with other
Yeah.
things. So like we can't think of anything that could, like you said, color TV. Like back then, no one thought color TV like was a thing because
Yeah.
it just didn't exist. So you can't think about it. So there could be something that comes out that we just never thought about because.
Yeah.
So like it's almost impossible to some like extent to.
I mean, I
like
think
foldable phones, the touch
Yeah.
screens. How they
Oh,
can
yeah.
fold those
Yeah.
up. I was like, what the? How'd they do that?
yeah, I mean that keeps like coming around. It just can't like it never makes it to like the public. Because I seen like a thing was like 5 years ago where like a lady took
Mm.
a TV that was like super thin off the wall. She rolled it up and put it in her closet. And it was
What?
like yeah, it was like a real thing, and it was like they have like OLEDs, and it's like an organic material.
Aquarium.
Aquarium
Where?
material. It's like an
There you go.
organic material that
Discovered new.
allows for it to like do all these crazy things, but it's like, is that needed? Like, do you?
That's
do
what
you-
I'm. Well, that's what I was gonna say when you're kind of talking about the houses. It's like how much stuff that we have that's not even needed. Like there's a lot of things that are just impractical and like not necessary. And like you seen like some kind of gravitation to like the small home, tiny home things. People being like minimalistic and everything, but like I don't know. That's just it's kind of a random thought there. But.
I mean, maybe from like a health and safety perspective. So like, new houses are built with like, I don't know, some sort of like smoke system. So it's like if smoke's detected, like all the windows go up and like fans are going off or something. So it's like efficiencies that help like make people just survive current things that people die from, type of thing.
Yeah, but
So-
it's like it's gonna go bad too. Though, like
Yeah.
I'm sure people will develop that, and then they'll have people developing things either for just pure convenience to be lazy, or
Yeah,
just for something bad. Get some technology and
yeah. There's definitely a line between like convenience and laziness. Like that's where like
Yeah.
that Wall-E line becomes like, was it convenient to sit in a chair and have something like feed me food? Like kind of, but do you want that? Like it's a weird line.
I just had a random thought pop into my head going back to like the whole traffic thing. What if we had like made some sort of like zip line traffic system where you hopped on like a fucking seat and you punched in where you wanted to go and it just zipped, you zipped right there.
That's a
What does that
lot
mean?
of lines though.
yeah, zipped on what? Like a track in the ground
like
that
a
you
pole, you're hanging,
or like you actually
you're hanging from like a line and
You would just look up and there would be just a million metal cables going in every direction.
yeah, that would just
so you
ruin-
punch in your
I know.
destination on your GPS and you don't have to drive. It just brings you there. It does.
But
the
you would
traffic
need a
for you.
line connected
Yeah,
to
from
every single like
every
thing ever.
door to every other door.
Well, I don't mean it like door to door. Like if you wanted to go from here to somebody's house in New York City, but I mean like it just takes you like maybe 100 feet within your destination. You know what I mean? Like
So maybe kind of
It's-
like a
hubs.
bus route, but instead of like
Yeah.
being on a bus, you can like jump on a zip line.
and you don't have to worry about like using like a mechanical brake or something that you squeeze. It just does it for you. Like you don't have to worry about zip lining through other people's wires and shit. Like
But
it's just like
it might-
streamlined thing. Like people zip in front of you and shit. You don't have to worry about it.
I mean, that's kind of like the thing like that the Boring Company is working on, that Hyperloop, like Elon Musk's thing, where it's basically like it's not super similar, but basically they have like specific like origin and destination places. So if you want to go from like somewhere in Arizona to like California, or like LA to Las Vegas, normally it's like you can take a plane or you can drive or whatever, but then he's creating like a tunnel underground that basically goes straight and is going to do like 300 under the ground, and you just sit in this tube and you're like and it's like it's just super efficient. Like it doesn't need any like, it's just built in this like magnetic like system that just is able to achieve that kind of
just
speed.
propels it with magnets.
But it's like it's a very expensive thing. Like you got to dig it, put a tunnel, put the power to power it. Like it's not
It's a
like
long tunnel.
you can't just put them anywhere.
So you think technology is going to put us all the way to either building stuff underground or underwater or anything in the sky?
I think
You think?
underground makes sense. Like underground kind of scares me, but I feel like
Mhm.
that's
scary.
Yeah.
that's easier to do than like continuing going up. Like we have skyscrapers and stuff, but it's like you can only get so tall before it just becomes ridiculous. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, 100-story building to me just still seems just so insane that like we build something like that. But
Well,
like,
tunnels too.
Crazy
yeah,
as
like
hell.
tunnels. Yeah, like when you're like on a
When they
subway.
dig tunnels underwater, I'm like, I keep that.
How do you even build
Like,
that?
like, you start from land and then you go and then you're underwater and you come like, what the hell's that? I don't even understand.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, there's so much, like Tim, your points, like we're not in these fields to know, like in a scientific field or in an engineering field or in these fields to know like what advancements are coming. Like
Yeah.
I could probably tell you things with like computing or whatever that would be like are on the way that would be helpful, but it's like I couldn't tell you like what the next best like bridge that we're gonna develop or like all this like
Hmm.
like
Next
these new
new
cars.
tires that you never have to get changed because they don't like wear out.
Yeah, like see that I see as like something would be like super helpful, and it's like, do we already have that? And it's kind of like back to the whole politics thing where it's like tire companies and car
Yeah.
companies are just kind of like saying no, oh, we still want that business. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if
That's-
that's the case, but it's very
probably
possible
is.
because I feel like how do we not have like a punctureless tire or something? Like
Yeah. I would. It probably is. That's.
it's like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It comes up all the time like that, where these big companies already have so much stake in things, and they just kind of they own the market, and they just kind of have like sketchy like patents, and they sue like when people have new ideas, and it's like
Yeah.
stupid. That it happened with the solar panel things too. Like solar panels could have been very good in like electric companies, and like we're paying officials and stuff to like outlaw them, like literally like outlaw solar panels in certain like cities and states, and it's like just because they didn't want to lose money. Like it's ridiculous. Like people are just
Yeah.
so greedy that's just like it's killing innovation. It's like
Yeah,
it's
I
just
agree.
ridiculous.
Because I mean, before Tesla, there was certainly like electric car. Like there was people trying to work on stuff, but like it took like this random no-name company, this random guy who had a lot of money to like shake up the market. And now like every car company has their own like version of one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like all these like big oil companies are just like they don't want that to go because they're literally like the people who own all of the main oil corporations are probably like in the top 20 richest people in the world. Like they make up
Oh, yeah.
up that whole list. So it's like money, and this is definitely relevant to the topic because it's like depending on the sector that is looking to be improved by the technology, like it could be hampered by like the money, the politics, the corporate greed, and all that stuff. So like we probably could be way further along.
Oh
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
the biggest one that and one of my friends always brought up to me was like batteries.
Mhm.
Like has a AA battery, like if you look at the life of a AA battery now to what it was like 50 years ago, like or whenever it was a thing, like I'm sure they're better now, but are they that much better? Do we really have no other way to like?
Yeah.
Is it no other power source type of thing? You know what I mean? It's like
Mm.
some other
Just-
power source besides like the sun and like gas. Like I feel like how do we not have that yet? Like that's like literally probably like the most craziest like discovery that we're gonna make is like a power
I'm gonna
source that's not that.
I'm gonna figure out how to smash a blueberry into something and make it powered by blueberries.
That'd be
It's
awesome.
It's organically grown. You can grow them in the ground, and then you take your blueberry, you smash it into your phone, and your phone's got 100% battery.
Done.
You would do that, and then
Blueberry
you know,
phones.
the next day, you would have looked like you killed yourself the next day. So
Yep.
that's usually what happens whenever someone has something like really
it was-
good that goes against these big companies. They
New York
they just-
and magically
just
die.
die.
You're
Yeah,
like,
they just
oh.
die for some reason.
Brian was found dead in blueberry field from overdose of blueberries.
Yeah. Whenever anything good
Blueberry-
happen, like when anything good is about to happen for everyone, but not good for like oil companies, like bad things happen.
And it's just crazy, like the selfishness of like you accumulating wealth versus like humanity or the world benefiting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
It's ridiculous.
it's crazy that they're like any one person anywhere, regardless of your upbringing, can like benefit. Like I mean, everyone has their own selfishness, but it's like to like literally like shut down like these like vast improvements that we could make just for like personal wealth and gain because you're like, oh, I work for this
Mhm.
company, I want to make my $1 million. Like, who cares? Like, I don't know. It still blows my mind that like we aren't further along because these like tycoons.
It's like why can't everybody have that? You know, why do you have to
Yeah.
have like? Why do you have to have $50 billion and there's fucking homeless people on the street?
Yeah,
No, I
and-
kind of like. I get. Yeah, I like. I don't know.
I
I,
mean,
get,
that-
like. I get what you're saying. Like, it's a little different than that, though, Brian.
I-
Like,
I
I
know-
get what
I know.
you're
Yeah.
saying.
I was saying
Saying it like
the whole like the social classes and stuff. I mean, I feel like that's there's other problems there that impact like, billionaires versus like homeless people. I'm talking more about like, and not all, but like you talk about like someone like Bill Gates or whatever, who literally is like he makes money, he spends all of it to like do these like really good things. Elon Musk is just throwing money out there to try to do these like crazy things, but it's like
Yeah.
those are very few and far between. Like these people that make massive money from oil, they're just throwing in money to make more oil. They're not saying like, oh, okay, we know this is gonna deplete soon and the world is gonna be just destroyed. Like, why don't we like put all this money into like friggin' wind turbines? You know what I mean? It's like you don't see that, and it's like you have
Mhm.
so much money, and you're just running this like business that's gonna eventually go away, but you're like so selfishly focused on like your lifetime. Like, oh, well, I want to be super rich. I don't care if the world burns like when I'm dead. It's like just a crazy thought.
At this point, it's like a reset button that you just reset everything.
Mm.
This
Well,
point,
everybody starts off with the same, and everybody keeps getting the same.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I
It's
don't
kinda
like
weird.
that.
That's just popped up in my head. I don't know.
yeah, I mean the reset is gonna be like in X number of years, the world's just gonna be like not livable, and then the human race on the Earth will be gone, and if there's humans on some other planet, that'll be the new like focus of whatever. But like, I mean that's a whole other conversation. Are we even some focus? I don't know.
are we
The-
the
the
aliens?
universe and the like if the Earth just like collapses
Oh,
and dies, like
Man, we should
well-
talk about aliens a different time.
yes, we should talk about space and aliens at a whole nother because that space is just literally I can't just saying the word space is, like blowing my mind already.
And Pluto,
But
which is not
No,
a
I
planet
don't care. I
anymore.
don't care.
but I mean it's just like even like just small things like like the technology that we have now and like I see things all the time about like recycling and stuff and how like basically half of our recycling just gets like shipped overseas as trash and whatever.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like
Well, yeah, because like we weren't recycling, so you're like sending it overseas, but then like they don't want it either,
yeah.
so it just gets like thrown in the like it just
It's like
so much.
and you
inefficient
think
thing.
like the concept of recycling is good. Like obviously like you can't
Yeah.
just throw shit away forever. But it's like how do we not like put money or resources into improving the technology to physically do like recycling?
Because
So,
I
like,
guess I'll tell you because there's probably no money.
yeah,
in
there's no gain for these people.
They don't
the
care.
only option is to recycle. There's like no trash. It is recycle, and that's it. You know.
But that's the thing. It's like we can do that, but then the companies aren't putting the money into like making it reusable because only some of it's reusable. It costs so much money for it to like meltdown or whatever it is, and like no one's doing it, but it's like if no one ever does it, like it's gonna be like a giant trash planet. Like it's just another thing. It's like, how are we not? I don't know. We're making advancements on all this other stuff, and then like the technology that we have now could be refocused to do actually important things. It's like, yeah, driverless cars, all these things are great, but it's like, what about all this other nonsense around us that we could be focusing on?
It's just like how we were trying to incorporate changing plastic bags into paper bags or reusable bags. Like, what happens to that? Now we went back and reversed to plastic bags again.
Well, that's just
It
because
keeps going back and forth.
I know some cities around the area are paper mandatory. They won't even.
Well, we only went
like-
back to plastic locally because of the pandemic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they stopped like producing
I remember-
the paper bags and all
Well,
that.
a
And then-
long time ago, it was paper. And then they were saying it was way too killing too many trees, so we went to plastic. And then plastic wasn't get recycled, so polluting, so went back to paper again. So it's just like it's gonna keep going back. Like
Yeah.
there's arguments; they're both not great. Either
Oh, yeah,
way,
they're
they're
both-
not good.
Yeah,
Paper and
reusables.
plastic both are terrible. Neither one is good. So it's gonna go back and forth. Like there just needs to be something else besides
Yeah.
reusable.
Reusable's the way to go, but they stopped doing reusable because they didn't want like people breaking in their germs and stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
reusable will come back once this year is figured out or whatever. This whole disease is
We get
Cloth bags.
something. So like that'll definitely be the future. But yeah, I mean, it's just even things like that. Like why? Like
Do you think
Uh.
we're gonna even live that far when the new viruses come out of nowhere?
I mean, that's another thing with technology is like, so like as the world like crumbles and no one focuses on that, we're gonna like have all this technology to solve all these diseases and all these like things that people die from. So it's like in our future, like us for, that'll be some accident, but like could live to be like 120. You know what I mean? That might be normal. When we're 120, that might be normal. Like
Not me.
right now, it sounds like really crazy and awful, but like you say not you, but like you don't know. Like by then, it might just be like, okay, like, oh, we figured out Alzheimer's. Like, yeah, you get old, but you don't like lose your brain, or we figured out most of the cancers. We figured out
That'll
whatever.
never-
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, so it's like, is that good? So we all live
That's-
longer?
Or they already have, and once again, pharmaceutical
I was
companies are
just
too
gonna
big,
say,
and they
like-
don't want to.
True.
like,
Ryan discovered
same-
something with
Yeah,
mashed
they-
blueberries.
Big pharma is like another thing that I could go on about how much I hate it because the government and big pharma like literally control everything.
But without
It
going,
could,
like into corruptness and stuff, which is
crazy.
its own thing, which is
I
absolutely
know.
true.
That's what I said. That's why I don't want to go too crazy. into
Which is
all that
that's
stuff,
its
'cause I
own
could go off.
thing. Like, what is your answer to the question? Is it good that we develop technology that like literally makes us live longer? Like, is that
No.
more ideal?
Not really.
But what if
Like I
like,
said, I already said earlier, we're overpopulated. So now that would just make us
True.
even more
Great
overpopulated,
minds
and
think
then,
alike.
and then we would just kill the world even faster, and then everyone would just be
Yeah,
dead
that's why
rather
you
than
don't get fat.
120-year-old men who can't move in their beds, just wasting space.
yeah. It sounds like messed up, but it's just what it is.
But I mean, that's kind of like part of the argument. If you're living longer, it becomes that like the becoming old
Deteriorate.
is now later. You know what I mean? So it's like they're able to keep you healthier. So like when you're
So-
70, it's like being 50. You know what I mean? Like so it kind of shifts
Yeah.
that divide. I mean, that's just an example, but it's like
So like 120 is the new 90.
or something
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean? So it's like you would say, oh, that's too long, but it's like, well, if you're still in the shape you would be of like a healthy 90-year-old, is that too long? Like I get the overpopulation thing, but it's like obviously we are trying to like cure all these diseases, and not to say we should stop doing that, but like the goal of all that is that like we may be able to like make people live longer, and it's like it's good because
If it's living longer by like curing this, yes, natural, like not extending like beyond your natural life, but
yeah.
in a sense of curing diseases, making us healthier as a human race, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like that would still would obviously come up like
yeah, I mean, if you like
population reasons, but
eat like garbage and you have a heart attack when you're like 70 and you die, like
yeah, it's your fault.
there's nothing they could do. Yeah, like surgery and stuff can get better, but it's like I guess my focus was more like all the people who die from like leukemia or from cancer
Yeah,
or for whatever like that. So it's like let's say big pharma and all this stuff gets out of the way, we can cure all that. we make all those people live longer, and then
Yeah.
I mean, does that in itself make people actually live longer in the future? I don't know. Like, I feel like
It just gives people a greater chance to live longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's still people who you still comes down to personal choice, like you said. It's still your
it's
eating
health.
habits,
Yeah,
your exercise, eating, whatever. Your how you choose to live your life. There's still accidents. People are still gonna
That's the thing
die.
now.
But I mean,
That's the thing
but-
now. It's like we just pressed pause on the whole healthy thing and just ended up back to the unhealthy way of living. It's just like eating whatever you have, whatever supplies you needed to eat.
zebra
Listen,
cakes.
though, I feel like a lot of people actually got like more healthy out of this. And like it's weird.
so that's
Uh,
I think food's like an interesting thing. So keeping on like, I mean, I guess technology in the future, but like, how do you envision like just food is
Metal
like
food.
is like in the future? Like, is it the same concept, or do you think we
Well-
move to? Okay, more specifically, I guess, because that's kind of a weird, broad question. More specifically, so like right now we have like the Impossible Burger and all those things, which I've had, and they actually taste pretty good.
But
Like, do you see it moving to that direction where we have like
And-
less meat and it's more like veggie type grown stuff? Do we have more lab grown stuff so that we don't have all these crazy farms? Like, where do you
Oh.
think like food and agriculture is in like 50 years?
So I got a crazy idea. I'll save it for after we talk about the real stuff.
I would hope it's going in the direction of more vegetables and grown stuff, like what it's supposed to be, because like that's like what it's supposed to be. All this like synthetic and like processed stuff, like that's
GMO.
super big right now, is
Yeah.
just the worst thing ever. And honestly, all that stuff is probably why we're super unhealthy and have all these diseases and things
True.
because all this garbage that they're putting in the food.
True.
So I hope it's going in that direction, but I don't know. Like, it's so hard to tell because there's like I said earlier, kind of there's like a big push for like organic stuff and homegrown and like all this and like more than ever, I feel like. But at the same time, there's also still massive fast food restaurants and unhealthy things at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. It's hard to
Yeah,
hard
I
to
feel like
tell.
we're never gonna get away from that too, because you're always gonna have like the split where you have like with technology now we've developed like really good things to eat. You know what I mean? You can have like a little bar that has all these vitamins and all these things in it, and it's like really good for you. But we also have like 700 flavors of Doritos. You know what I mean? It's like obviously we're still putting effort into like Doritos, and Doritos aren't good for you. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, you can have them, but like they don't need to be in anyone's diet or any like, you know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't need to be a thing. So it's like I feel like there's always that divide of like our technology, from a technology perspective, we're like getting better at making things healthier, but we're still developing the unhealthy things. So it's like the healthier stuff is getting healthier, but there's still the unhealthy stuff there. So you're always going to have like both sides of that coin.
So my crazy idea sort of kind of ties back into the technology aspect, but it's more of so like food and proteins and nutrients and shit like that. And I know there's vitamins out there already, but what if there was some sort of thing, little pill or whatever it ends up being, that like based on your blood type and whatever your body needs and shit like that, you can ingest it and it gives you like, you know, the right amount of nutrients, protein, whatever for yourself for the day, and that's all you eat.
it's pretty much like a Rick and Morty
That's
episode.
all you eat. Like you can still drink water and shit, but like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it
I
could
mean,
be a thing.
you pop this pill, and your body like absorbs, you know, everything from it, and you don't need to eat like Doritos anymore because it's not like a craving you have because your body's full from whatever
Yeah.
this thing put into you.
Well, so I feel like that's two pieces. So you have like, I don't think we're ever going to get to that point. I think we're going to get to the hybrid where you have that, where you have like some sort of detection system where you like, you know, put a drop of blood and it's like, oh, you need these 10 things today because it could change every day. And you have this pill that gives you what you need. But like eating is still such like a pleasure for people. You know what I mean? Like going to restaurants, like snacking in front of a movie. Like I think the idea of eliminating that is not going to like sit well with people. So I feel like getting to the
True.
point where you can take something to fill your nutrient, like your nutritional value, but then still go and eat stuff. Like that's like the hybrid system I see, because like you mentioned not being hungry. I feel like that's a whole different thing. Like a single pill that doesn't make you hungry all day. That's spooky. Like
Yeah.
that's like a
So-
whole
so-
different thing.
The hybrid situation, I feel like, Scott, is based more on kind of what we said with like living longer, it's more of a choice. You know,
True,
like
true, yeah.
you already took your thing for the day. Do you really want to go eat 10 pounds of Doritos right now? Like
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
you know you already took your thing that you're gonna be okay for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Like why do you have to go eat those Doritos?
Would that
Yeah.
even work though? Like we're not experts in that field either, but like when you eat and you absorb the nutrients in the food and stuff, like could that even work that you take a pill and you're not like you'd still be hungry? You would still, you know what I mean?
Well, the
like
hungry-
you might.
Technology in the future, Tim.
I know,
like
but I'm just
the
saying.
hunger
Like,
part, they have stuff like now that you can take, but like they don't have anything for like a whole day. Like it would have to be some like slow release tab that somehow gives you like 2,000 calories worth of nutrients. So the pill would probably be like this big.
but even that, like what you take now to not feel hungry, still fills something in your stomach though. If you
Yeah.
just took a pill that released nutrients, you would still feel hungry.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's still.
The future, Tim.
I know, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
It could be like liquidated.
I don't think
Well, that's
no
what I'm
matter
saying, like,
how
right-
far in the future we can get, that's just like not possible because
Yeah,
the way
we-
the body works.
Well, it's like
That-
Christian said. It's like right now is like you get like a shake and that keeps you hungry.
Yeah,
But it's like
yeah.
that's why
It's something that
like the
fills
hunger.
you.
That's why it's like the hunger thing is a little bit different. But like Brian said, it is the idea of like giving people the choice. So it's like you have the choice. Like you get cancer. Do you want like this pill? We figured it out. Like you can have this and live longer, or you don't have to have it. You know what I mean? Or now it's like, oh, do you want to take this pill that will like give you the best edge immunity booster every single day, or do you not want it, or do you still want it? Take it and then go eat a Big Mac. You know what I mean? It's like it just becomes another option that people can use to then be more healthy.
Yeah,
But there is always, like I said, there's people that are like, we are like the healthiest and the unhealthiest that I think we've been. Like the
Yeah,
healthy,
that's
that's
what
what
I'm
I was saying. Like the healthier people, like the people that are in shape, are the best in shape we've ever been. But like
Yeah.
the people that are that not in shape
Fatter.
are like not maybe not the fattest, but like we're probably like the most unhealthiest because of like
yeah.
the garbage that we've created. Like back then, it was like really bad foods, but a lot of that's still around and people still eat that. So it's still like
Like,
that line.
Just like in McDonald's with the supersize.
Mm.
That shit.
People have been, slicing up cows and having steaks and shit for years and years and years. But I mean, like now, kind of what Tim said, they put so much crap in your food that
Yeah.
it's just not even the same thing anymore. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
you're
not-
eating.
Yeah, it's not
Just
just
fake-
natural.
It's just like when I saw the McDonald's documentary when they had original ice cream when they first came out in McDonald's, and then the corporation was like, let's try to save something less costly on
Mhm.
spending so much on dairy and stuff to make ice cream. We could just make this fake ice cream out of these ingredients, and it'll taste the same, but it won't.
But it's worse.
change.
It's cheaper and
Yeah.
worse for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what a lot of it.
But then
comes down
eventually
to.
they went back to ice cream anyways.
So pretty much, like to sum every question up, like the biggest hamper of all of this is like humans. Like we are
Yeah,
our
oh,
own.
yeah.
We're always going to be our own worst enemy because no one's even on just being healthy. People can't agree. Like, oh, I still want to do what I want. I'm going to be 500 pounds. I don't care. Like, I don't know. Like humans are always going to get in our way.
I guess you can. I don't know. If that floats your boat, I mean,
Unless we can
Yeah.
eat rock.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just like I meant like for like advancements, like it's just we're always going to be in our way because it's going to
Somehow.
be that divide of like, left or right or healthy or not healthy or A or B, red or blue. Like it's always going to be a divide. So like the human race is never going to be on the same page, which
So you say we're not going to
it won't ever be that way. We'll never be on the same page.
No.
Yeah.
think we're going to evolve somehow.
no, I think like Brian was saying that this might be not the peak of our technology, but we might have like pretty much what we're going to have. And things are just going to kind of improve because like
Just a little bit better here and there.
yeah, and like it's probably accurate because you think when you were a kid until you like went to high school was probably like pretty crazy technological changes. But since you went to high school to now, it's like, yeah, you have a phone that does a lot of stuff, but it's like, okay. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know, I feel like the advancements have slowed down.
Cloud. You can save your pictures to the cloud now.
Yeah, they're kind of like not pointless advancements, but
It's
The
like
emotion.
it's like speed and space.
yeah.
It's just like getting recording. How the people got recording on a photo or like a device, and then it evolved from recording, and then recording becomes motion pictures and crazy
Yeah, like
CGI.
yeah. So it's like right now we have like VR, but it's like,
CG.
is that going to be the next? Is VR going to be the next thing? If VR kind of
It's gonna
dwindles,
evolve.
then it's like nothing's going to change. We're just going to have like
What's
8K resolution that our eyes can't even see.
going to evolve from CDs,
What?
What?
We already don't even
Like-
use CDs.
cartridges, and then we went to CDs. Like we can,
It's digital
Digital.
what's going to evolve more than that?
in your
I
brain.
Mentally, and I was gonna say they're gonna implant it, and you'll
It's
just
just like a spinny disc.
Like right now, I'm just watching.
you'll just have like a no,
Jurassic World 3.
yeah. They'll just have like an insert that just like taps into your like whole nervous system and like your brain and everything, and it just
You
you can
can
hear
do,
things in your head. And,
All those raves when like people wear headphones and they all listen to like different
Yeah,
music
in the
up
forest
yeah,
and
the quiet raves that they do.
your head, but you
Yeah.
can tune into everybody else's music and you can all have like a silent,
That's pretty cool. But like, I don't know, like you can argue a lot of points, but like if you just quickly think about being able to like you're just going on a walk and you just like think about playing a song and it starts playing, but you can still like hear stuff. Like that's awesome. Like it sounds weird because you don't know what it's like doing to your body, but like how awesome is that? Like if your phone was
Like
like in your brain, it sounds
Yeah.
crazy, but like that's pretty sick. Like you can do so much stuff with your
like
thoughts.
school your eye and
Or-
like just
Well,
contact.
so yeah, now
Body
we're
won't-
getting into like just like altering the human body like completely, which is like
you like,
good or bad. I don't know, but
Where do you evolve
give your
from?
logo and it answers a call for you. Answer it like
Boop, boop, boop.
Where do you evolve from phones to watches, and
Yeah.
those can actually phone calls and stuff like that.
yeah,
All right. Final question before we wrap it up.
yeah, it's
So-
a long time.
We're gonna elaborate on Tim's point, which I didn't even think about. So, with future, with technology, how do you see the human body potentially like changing? So we talked about like healthcare and like the things that we use, and right now you already have like all these replacement parts and stuff that you can like 3D print you a heart and all this nonsense. Do you see just more of that and like easy organ replacement, or do you see any sort of like digital entity being put into the body? Like again, in your lifetime, do you see someone getting not like government tracked chipped, but like do you see somebody getting chipped with for like entertainment purposes?
maybe like battery.
Probably.
Going back to like the Iron Man, like the battery powered human. You have like
Iron Man.
I don't know, like your battery can do certain things for a little bit that a normal human couldn't if you had one.
I feel like it someone's gonna come up with it. I don't know if it's gonna become like a normal thing or if it's gonna become like a mass produced thing. I feel like someone's gonna try it because like
I mean, Elon Musk is doing it
it's
now.
an idea. That's what I mean. It's an idea. Someone's gonna try it somewhere. Like it's like, but
See,
I don't know if it's gonna become like a thing.
to me, it feels like it's going to be like a Westworld type thing,
Yeah.
where we get our minds imprinted inside data, and then that data becomes this robotic human being with skin and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's like a whole nother like if your like consciousness in
Yeah.
your brain gets like transferred. That's like
That's a little crazy. But like I think
that's ridiculous.
I think like the neural link that Elon Musk is working on is like, I think the idea is to that it creates a connection from your brain to some sort of like cloud service. So basically it lets your brain tap into like basically unlimited stuff. So like
That's crazy.
you have this connection to like have unlimited like power to think about things, information to access. So like it basically turns your brain as like it like
Computer.
plugs it into the internet basically. And with the cloud and the services that you have out there, it's like a super powered brain. So like that he's already literally working on that, but it's like
That'd be ridiculous.
is
That'd be
that
so
is that it's like
How would that look in your head? Like, do your
I
eyes
don't know.
become like TV screens, and you're like, it's like the inside of your head is looking at the TV screen. Your eyes, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
well, I don't
Feels
think
like-
it's I think the concept
think
of
it's
like watching a movie in your eye. I don't think it's that. I think it's like when you have a thought, you having a thought is like it's like checking the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you're instead of saying, hey, hey Google, can you do this? You're basically thinking it and then you're getting the answer fed to your head.
Mm.
Like, hey, I just added a thing on my Amazon cart right now.
Yeah.
Or
Or
could
he's
you,
just
like-
ordering stuff on Amazon, just like sitting there, just thinking about things, ordering things.
But I mean, it is weird
Amazon.
because like you could be like looking at something and be like, I wonder how that's like made, and then it's like, boom, you know how like a whole car is
That-
built or something. It's like it's
That would
cool.
be crazy though.
It's cool, but it's like does everything become like more interesting, or does everything become boring because now you know everything?
Probably.
There you go.
Well, here's the thing.
At this point, you
Hold
can just
on.
be like,
Tim's got a
how do I
thought.
get smarter?
The thing is with that, like, if it's like the internet, it's if you just say, "Oh, how does that work?" and you try to think about it, and it's going to like internet, because the internet's so big, it's hard to actually find
Yeah.
how anything actually like the truth on the internet anymore. So like if I was when you first said that, I'm like, well, everyone would be smart, like the smartest person ever, because everyone like you could just instantly like research everything. Everyone could just do that, and just everyone would be like geniuses. Everyone would know everything. But at like the same time, the internet just ridiculous.
It's
It's like
garbage.
stupid. It's a bunch of garbage on it. So it's like you think that like, oh, how's it work? No, people are just gonna be sitting there like this, laughing at TikToks like all day.
Yeah.
Like, no,
oh,
dude, they don't even.
you think
like,
everyone
you're
would
not
be
gonna-
like learning languages and doing that? You'd be like,
Yeah.
no, you'd just be like
No.
virtually watching porn and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, like it's not. So,
I guess the problem with all of that we didn't really touch this too is like, with every advancement comes somebody who's gonna try to exploit that.
oh yeah, it
So
comes
like
with it.
for that specifically is like, yeah, like humans can now be hacked. Like that just sounds so
Yeah.
scary. But even anything else, it's like, oh, the newest integrated house, and it's like someone hacks into it and like shuts your house down. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
there's always going to be someone who's working on like the
opposite.
the
I
opposite
think it's
side.
just at the end, out of like all these questions, it's just like, is it worth it? Like,
is it worth it?
to even do it? Is it even worth it? Like, I don't know.
Like, should
A
we
lot of
just?
this stuff is
Oh,
probably
yeah, I don't
not.
know. Like, is there certain things that like most of these companies should just be like, okay, like refocus your efforts on like fixing the ozone or something? Like,
Yeah. But just like all these convenience things and all these technology things, it's like, yeah, it's cool, but it's like, where
Where does it
Where are we
stop?
going with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
What's
How
the
are we gonna
goal?
be, like, how are we going to be the guy who invented like Microsoft, or the guy who invented Facebook, or
but is it really making people's lives better? Like Facebook, it's like, oh, it's the greatest thing, but it's like, does that really make anyone's life better? It's like,
oh my God,
time
you
on
can
people
get like
People already scroll through Facebook.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think
it's like,
it's and that's probably a conversation for another day too. But it's like everyone's mad at Facebook too. But it's like that's not how it was created. It just that's how the world
Yeah.
works. It like it got into a model. It hired people. It has to pay people. It has ads. So it's like, yeah, I get.
I'm
It's
not-
like,
I'm not mad. Yeah, I'm not like mad at Facebook, but like,
but it's yeah, I would agree. It's like you
It's
see,
just
all these, you
marketing.
see all these crazy like products and these like weird things that are being advertised, and it's like, is the end goal just to make a few bucks, or is it to like, what's the end goal with all of these things? Is it to
Yeah.
become like some super efficient human race, or is it just like some convenience
Money
thing, or is
maker.
it just I think it's just every random person is just making their buck, and this is the world we
Mhm.
live in. It's just like we don't know where it's going. It's just people doing whatever.
no.
Well-
I just told my brain to how to make a ham and cheese sandwich. So
Of all the questions you could ask, you asked how to make a ham and cheese.
Know how to make a ham and cheese sandwich.
It's like, how do I
Oh,
flush
God.
the toilet?
yeah, not enough memory.
On that note,
Not enough memory. The internet's down.
Oh my God.
Like
We can,
when the
This
internet
is a
goes
big
down, you're just like,
yeah, this is a big topic.
yeah. I feel like
Everyone
we
just
could
sits down.
stem off of this for like social
Yeah.
media and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. That's a lot of conversation there. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's interesting to like think about the future. Everyone's always so stuck like in the past or right now, but it's like, if you really think about the future, there's just you literally could go in any direction. You don't know
Yeah.
how people are going to react. You don't know like what kind
What's
of
gonna
crazy
happen.
discovery will be made, if that discovery is going to be shut down, kind of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like the Wild West out there right now, especially this
Wild
year.
Wild East.
So
Gotta
wild.
live in the
All
present.
right, guys.
Forget about the future.
The
Just
new-
live in the present.
The new
Think
Wild
about
West
it.
is going to be like, oh, it's like a wild 2020. 2020 is going to be the new like Wild West example
Reference
reference.
in 20 years, like, oh my God, what are we? in
What is this 2020?
How can we make a ham and cheese sandwiches?
What? What are you
Chris-
still?
Chris-
Everybody's gonna forget how to make a ham and cheese.
Yeah, we're
And
so
that's
focused on
gonna be-
other stuff. That's gonna be like the number one looked up question on the brain link is how to make a ham and cheese.
What is sandwich?
What are you talking
What is sandwich?
You just scrolling through the
Uh,
search results. It's 6 billion search results. You're like, it's 3 years later. I still don't know how to make it.
Yep.
You-
All right, well,
Cool.
that was
On
a good
note,
one.
That was a fun one. I think we should do more of these, just kind of off the cuff, like just open discussions. No like set
Yeah.
topics. I think it creates for
That's
for
good.
conversation.
All right. So
Everybody,
there.
see you on the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, board the boys. We'll see you next
2
week.
weeks. One.
Peace.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah, Black
Peace.
Uh,